Welcome to another episode of the Plant-Based Jan Adventure Series. It's easy to eat healthy at home. I'm here to show you it can be done on the road too, or in the rainforests under skies that drop 12 to 14 feet of rain a year. Come along to these lush jungles of the Olympic National Park like the Hoh Rainforest. Because Olympic National Park is so vast, nearly 1 million acres, it makes sense to break the trip into videos into 3 main areas. I'm going to hit each of the 3 ecosystems within the park. It's really hard to put a favorite on any one of these areas. They're all so different. You'll have your opinion. The world is Olympic National Park. It's in the United States. It's in the state of Washington. And in the state of Washington, it's in Western Washington on the northwest corner. Since the park's inception in the early 1930s, nearly 200 million people have visited. Of course, in many areas, it's hard to tell that anyone, even one human, has visited. In recent years, that breaks down to about 3 million on average visitors per year. Let's take a look at the 3 different regions of the park. Of course, we have the temperate forests, including some of the wettest, most rainy rainforests where moss and mist and moisture blanket the trees and all the flora and fauna. There's the coastline, where the park meets the Pacific Ocean with sandy beaches or intensely rocky areas. All of the coastline is scattered with sea stacks and old-growth driftwood. The coast is 73 miles long. Many of these miles are not accessible by road or car. Talk about secluded beaches. The other areas of the park include the alpine area, the mountains, which are the Olympic mountain range. From a distance in many areas of Western Washington state, you can see the profile and the tops of these majestic mountains. The most popular months to visit are July, August, and September, but it does get visitors every single month of the year. Let's go back to the map real quick and I'll show you where the primary home base was for us. Forks, Washington. Great for a few days. As you can see, it's a little town that's not in the park, but it's centrally located to most of the major features. So it's centrally located to all of the coastline and the beaches, the Hoh Rainforest, the Lake Ozette area, Lake Crescent, and it's not too much of a drive to the other major places like Hurricane Ridge and Deer Park. If Forks sounds familiar, it's where you can visit your good vampire friends, Edwin and Bella, made famous by the fiction books. This fun fiction phenomenon has given Forks, which is considered the rainiest city in the contiguous United States at 120 inches of rain a year, a new shot in the arm for tourism. There's just basic amenities there, a couple of accommodation options, a couple of very small restaurants, drive-in. There's a grocery store, hardware store. You're gonna probably be on your own for the most part. Olympic National Park is a rainy place. If you envision lush, vibrantly green rainforests when you hear that name, it's probably because so much of the park is forest. And there are 4 rainforest areas. There's the Quinault, Queets, Bogachiel, and the Hoh Rainforest valleys. They're all amazing rainforest areas. The Hoh is probably the one you've heard of. There are two types of rainforests on our planet. There's tropical and temperate. Tropical rainforests are found in warm climates near the equator. You will see some tropical rainforests like in the Hawaiian Islands, that type of area. The temperate rainforests are where we're at in the Olympic National Park. They're cooler climates. They're not extreme climates, but tend to be cooler. They tend to be near coastal areas. And of course, they get a tremendous amount of rain. In the Hoh area, there's a couple of trails to show off its features. The Hall of Mosses is just under a mile loop that takes you through groves of trees that are heavily bearded and padded with thick and draping mosses of all sorts. It just creates an intensely soft and green wonderscape. There are hundreds of species of mosses around the park, especially here in Hall of Mosses. There's cattail, stairstep, spike mosses, club mosses. They create their own ecosystems, softening all the hard edges and creating a palette of glowing greens. Mosses do not have a vascular or root system, so it does dry out. Some people say the best time to view the mosses and the incredible greenscape is during the rainy season, not like when we're here in August when it's sunny. It's been a little bit dry because the mosses do tend to dry out a little bit. You'll also see towering trees. You want to look straight up to the sky because these are some of the old growth forests that are so tall it's just stunning, and they're intermixed all through these trails. In this area is the Spruce Nature Trail. It's a 1.2 mile loop. Or you can also go much farther along the Hoh River Trail, which ultimately ends about 18.5 miles into the heart of the wilderness. We also followed the Hoh River the opposite way towards the ocean. It goes all the way out through Oil City, a dirt road to the ocean. The Hoh River is like many other streams and rivers in the park, crystal clear and known for a Windex-like color. Really breathtaking. Trying a road that's off the beaten path, but it does have access to a little place called Oil City. So we're on Oil City Road, and it says that it's a primitive road, but we have found that it's not bad at all. Part of it was paved, and then you get in here, and part of it is dirt. So far, so good, about 4 miles in. So we've just parked. There's plenty of parking, and that's one nice thing about being off the beaten path on a Sunday in August. Really nice weather because there's not that many people here. I can see from our navigation that the ocean is not that far out that way. The river's right here. We'll get out and check this out. It's like, it's not real well marked, but it looks like we've got to cross this little creek and go up there. That looks like our trail there. We're weaving back in and out of the forest, so it's cool again. I didn't bring my jacket, but that's okay. Along the river, it's just this big rainforest. Gotta crawl over all of that driftwood to get out. Still on the riverbank of the Hoh, but here is the ocean. See the sea stacks out there and the pelicans, the waves. The rainforests are home to 3,000 to 4,000 Roosevelt elk. They're larger than Rocky Mountain elk. A male can weigh up to 1,100 pounds, and they're also darker in color. After overhunting and nearly disappearing at the end of the 19th century, the elk that stay in the park today are protected, of course. There's a lot of elk here. It's one of their favorite habitats. In 1904, there was actually a proposal for Elk National Park right here. This is the largest unmanned herd of elk in the Pacific Northwest. Because of their size, they need to eat a lot of plants, and while they can forage in many different habitats in the park, they really love the rainforest valleys because there's plenty of food. According to the National Park Service, the Hoh Rainforest Valley area is a particular favorite hangout because these herds are getting plenty to eat, and that makes them what they call non-migratory because they really don't have to go anywhere else to get their food. Let's head south and check out the Quinault Rainforest area. The Lake Quinault, is the anchor of this area. While you can drive a loop, the North Shore and the South Shore roads go around the lake. You'll want to note that there are a couple more roads that continue into the wilderness areas. The south part of the lake, which is on South Shore Road, is where a lot of the infrastructure is. So Lake Quinault Lodge, the post office, there's a couple of camping areas.
Ella-roo. Ella. Hey, look at the puppy. Look at the baby girl. Ella.
What a cute face.
All right.
There's some beautiful features like Merriman Falls. And certainly look at the big Sitka Spruce tree. So a lot of the sites that you might be familiar with or heard about are on the south side of Lake Quinault. So we came in off of 101 up the north side, the North Shore Road, which can be a loop if you take a right. And then what we did was we went straight up through the old growth forest. We're parked at North Fork. We're going to take the North Fork trailhead. You can actually go all the way up to the Low Divide, which is about 30 miles. That will get you all the way up to Hurricane Ridge. Many days of camping, I'm assuming, and we'll go in and check this trail out. In 1890, the first non-native explorers took 6 months to get from the Hoh River area to this Quinault area, and they barely made it. Now, because of well-marked trails, you can do it in less than a week, or you can just drive the loop in the Quinault area like we did and check out all the trailheads and check out the forest in here. Some people call this area the gateway to the Olympic wilderness because it's got all the trail access into the interior. And once you hit that interior, you've got the lakes, the meadows, the icy mountain peaks, the wilderness of the Olympic National Park. The trail runs along the valley of the river. And here is our first glimpse at it because there's not a lot of openings yet. Very popular area here. This is Graves Creek. Some of the impressive forest areas are not technically rainforests, but have some of the same features, like the heavier rainfall, the multi-layered canopies, the giant old growth trees. The Soleduck Hot Springs area, or the Soleduck Valley, is one of these areas. There's the ancient grove of trees, which is a beautiful, spectacular 0.6 mile loop. And then you also stop by, or could stop by, the salmon cascades. It's where the salmon are running. It's like their highway. It's just spectacular. And that is just before you get to the Ancient Grove area. And then there's a lot of other trails in there that lead to other spots along the Soleduck River. Unbelievable. We're heading to the salmon cascades in the Soleduck area of the Olympic National Park. Look at the size of that tree. This is where the salmon will navigate back to their birthplace from the ocean after spending a couple of years out in the ocean. They will memorize the sense of the river and be led back to it through magnetic fields and all kinds of homing devices that they have as a species, and they will go right back to their birthplace. If you look closely, you can see the salmon under there. Every once in a while they'll jump up, and they are working hard to get upstream here. This is the loop trail in the Ancient Grove area of Soleduck. The Soleduck River is right below us. Some of these trees are 750 years old. There's Douglas, there's western hemlock. Some are dying to become nurse logs. Here's the underside. Look at the live root system. See the air with all the little pine needles or seeds, little debris falling through the air and the sunbeams down to this magic green carpet of moss. Over here is a good example of a nurse log. Lots of new growth happening there. I've seen a couple trees that are dying. They had a good long life. Many hundreds of years old. Soleduck Falls first. This is the trail connector that connects you to the whole Daniel J. Evans Wilderness. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed some of my top highlights of the Olympic National Park rainforests. You can see it's so vast. You'll be able to find your favorite areas and trails. You have over 600 miles of trails to choose from. Speaking of trails and hiking, for me, the plant-based eating coincides with healthy nature areas and the ability from a human health standpoint to hike many of those miles to get out and enjoy the spectacular planet. Since you've stayed this long, here's a little bit more inspiration and information of what I'm trying to do to promote a plant-based diet for the health of our planet and our humans. It's all interconnected. I'm passionate about plant-based foods. I'm showing you some shots of some of my favorites. I love creating and cooking, but they have to be over-the-top delicious, nourishing, and mostly easy. Rainbow salads, comforting soups, crispy wraps, cheesy breakfasts. There's never been a better time to check into it. There's so much research out there. There's so many people that are doing plant-based and can show you some easy tips. And I'm always asked, is it more prep? Not really. I always say I'd rather spend more time in my kitchen than standing in line for prescription or procedure. It's all interconnected once you start checking into it. If you appreciate what I'm doing, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss anything. And my goal is that we all enjoy this greatest adventure we call life.